take your time out to say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channels 20, those of you by our Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning and welcome. Welcome to Friday's edition of To The Point, and certainly expecting an interesting conversation with me this morning. My guest is, of course, is Mr. Chitan. Can I miss Cindy first name? Can I miss Cindy? Curtis, Mr. Curtis Chitan, and he's the PRO of the Eastern Bus Association. I think I got that right. So welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Once again, welcome to our listeners and viewers this morning on today's program. And certainly, of course, when we do getting to the meat of our conversation this morning, I certainly hope some difference will be made. And of course, folks will have a clearer understanding in terms of what we're going to be discussing this morning on today's program. Once again, Mr. Curtis Chitan, good morning to you, sir. We can just work with Curtis, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we just work with Curtis. We just work with Curtis. Welcome once again. Your purpose of being here this morning, of course, have a lot to do with, of course, the association that you are part of. That's the Eastern Bus Association.
Eastern Main Road.
Eastern Main Road Bus Association.
Bus Transport Association.
Eastern Main Road Bus Transport Association. So we get that the correct name in perspective there once again. So we're going to talk a lot this morning. We're going to talk about some of the concerns that you have, of course, that relates to the association also. We are going to talk a lot about the pricing issue that you experience, that you are concerned in relation to pricing. We hope to get some feedback from the public in terms from this discussion this morning. Let's get into one of the main concerns that you're having this morning. Let's hear from it. What are the main concerns that you really having this morning?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that again, my name is Curtis Chitan, and I am the PRO of the Eastern Main Road Bus Owners Association, right? Yeah. And over a period of time, I would listen to operators, and some of the concerns that they have is relating the price list. And as you can see, it's clearly stated it's a pay-for system, all right?
Which means that pedestrians, of course, users of the buses, when they should be paid.
Exactly, all right.
But that procedure sometimes is never followed.
Based on circumstances at hand, for example, if you take into consideration, let's say you're in traffic, you wouldn't want to, I would say, go into that in particular. But however, if the passengers do have the monies to hand to the conductor or the driver, we will happily accept it. So basically, it's a joint effort in accomplishing that particular goal.
In your opinion, where should that be done first? It should be done as someone at the bus stop. I want to deal in the proper way. Someone at the bus stop stops the bus. They should pay the bus first.
That's how it's supposed to be. On
entering the bus, you take care, whatever monies that you, or whatever the cost for the trip or wherever the destination lies, you pay the bus. That's supposed to be the procedure that should be taking place.
Yes.
If you take a bus at the terminal, on entering the bus at the terminal, that should also be the procedure that you follow. Yeah. You come in, if it's the conductor or the driver, whoever is the one collecting, that's the process that it should be taking place.
Should be.
All right. Why is it that process is not really adhered to?
Like I said, based on the situation at hand, and sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of the operators seem to see their business as a hustle, and it should not be seen that way. It is a business, and it should be conducted as a business, okay? And for some reason, at times, based on how they would operate during their hours, they tend to let that slide. Over time, it becomes a problem, all right? Because, like I would say, sometimes some people drop and they pay you a figure, and it's not what it's supposed to be.
To what they
exactly.
The cost of it.
And as we are speaking about that, we have to accept the fact that the Eastern Main Road bus operators give handsome discounts. On local term, they're going to say breaking price. I want to look at it as a discount. And if you go in any other business place, basically you can get that as well. Yeah. But that does not justify anybody saying that is what they are accustomed paying, or that is what the norm is. It is very important that persons know the correct bus fare, all right, so that it can be paid to the individual that wishes to collect the correct bus fare.
I want us to piggyback just a wee bit in terms of the PFA system before we get into the actual course. The problem based directly and indirectly, is it based on the drivers of the bus or the conductors of the bus? That problem directly or indirectly, where folks are not paying first. I want us to spend a lot of time getting that clarified. Where does that problem really, who really is the one responsible for that problem, in your opinion?
Well, of course, it is the responsibility of the operators to execute that. But in an effort to do so, we do have negative encounters. And for that reasons, we tend to, like I say, improvise most times and just walk with the flow. And that's why I am here today, basically to bring public awareness, because there is a lot of operators that is willing to comply with whatever the rules and regulation is stating.
You see, there's a saying that, you know, when things get deteriorated to a point, it's very difficult to fix it.
Understand.
And if that had been allowed to deteriorate, and I'm not assuming that's a problem on your particular bus route only. I think the majority of bus routes are going to undergo in that particular problem, because it's been allowed to deteriorate for years. It's not a yesterday thing. Somebody jumps on a bus when they're ready to come out, and then the bus has to wait a wee bit because that individual has to go in his pocket or in his bag or whatever to get the fee, and then sometimes they don't have the right amount. I understand the whole ring around on this. You understand? How do you all plan to fix this problem? I understand public awareness is critical. What you're doing now is a way of getting people sensitized in terms of what you want done.
Basically.
You understand?
Basically.
Hey, this is what. But how you intend to fix that problem, that issue of that P4 system? And I think it should go across the board. I agree with you taking that first step. I'm coming to talk about it. But I think, you know, PROs of all the bus associations should be gathering with you on a program like this. You get where I'm coming from?
I agree.
You know, and say, hey, this is what we want to do.
Like you just mentioned, it takes someone to start it. And while I conduct business, I try my best to provide such information to persons I come across, and they will be very understanding and comply, you know. But it's very important, I would say, to speak in general so that people can be made aware, because some of the things that we are hearing a lot is that I wasn't aware, I don't know. And I am not blaming them for it, because guess what, like you said, it's the norm, and it has been deteriorating for quite a while. So in order to change, or in an effort to change it, we need to start, I would say, now and make public awareness of it.
All right, so good. So I hopefully hope that folks are listening to this. Maybe we may not have the particular audience that you want this morning to listen to this. You know, folks maybe at work or so forth that knows they may not be hearing this conversation, that, you know, maybe they have a chance to view this program a bit later and they will understand. You understand? Because making individuals aware cannot be a one-off thing. You can't come in this one and tell everybody you're really going to get it. You understand?
Well, I am definitely looking forward to continue this process, you know, in my daily work, and also from time to time make myself available on a public platform to basically bring awareness to it, because I understand it would not fix overnight.
I understand,
you know, and my intentions here is not to bash anyone, and I am very understanding in my job. You know, I wish that persons directly from my zone can speak on my behalf as well. And the thing about it is that it will be nice to know that it can change. For example, I'm one of the individuals that deals with a lot of children, and some of the things that I encounter, you know, I just improvise. You know, I'm a dad, and there is no way, you understand what I'm saying?
You would not drop a child because he doesn't have the amount of breastfeed that he or her needs. You understand?
And it doesn't mean that it is correct in terms of the amount of monies that they have. But what I'm saying, from a daddy point of view, and just, you know, being humane, is just kind of challenging for a guy like me to leave children. And I stand firm on that, you know. So when it comes to children, especially primary school children, I could understand why they may not have the correct bus fare, because they would have spent it or they lost it. But when it comes to an adult that is working, you know, I believe that, I could be wrong, but I believe that they are in a position, you know,
to make sure they have their bus.
All right, or explain themselves, because we are very understanding.
That advanced conversation, hey, sir, I may not able to pay you today, but we could. Can I pay you at a later date? I don't think you may just leave someone off for that. Fantastic. Once you have that advanced conversation with someone.
Fantastic. Because all we're looking for at the end of the day is to honor honest living and at the same time be respected, you know. And over the years, I mean, I firmly believe that we are, you know, disrespected on many levels. That is not acceptable, because, I mean, as for me, I am a person that likes to do things in a certain manner, you know, and I would be very respectful to people. And even if in a case somebody did something on the bus which is inappropriate, I'll try my best to relate information to them.
Have that resolved in a amicable way.
Definitely.
Let me also ask you this. In terms of, have you in conversation with other bus owners, how do they feel about, you know, getting this in place, the pay-for system? Are they for it? I mean, you didn't mention the reason why some of them forgo in terms of doing it in the appropriate way. Are they really in a uniform way want to get this done where folks pay first before they enter the bus? I just want to get the pay-for system, you know, get a clear view of how all the other bus members are part of the association feels in relation to this.
Well, I am going to speak on the majority, and the majority of bus operator is definitely ready and willing to collect their correct fare. Yeah. However, like I said, some buses, they do give nice discounts, and I understand. You know, if I go anywhere and I am told that, okay, you can pay $1 less, I would be happy just the same way, you know. But what I'm saying is that it is very important to know what is the bus fare, and that you can pay it to the individual that wishes to collect it. Having said that, something to take into consideration is that the majority of buses is not owner driven.
Understand.
So therefore, there is this way of conducting business in an effort, hoping that they'll accumulate more monies, I would say.
I mean, because I'm a driver, I'm the conductor, I need to be paid. So I will do what I have to do to make whatever tally for the day.
Right.
Let me also ask you this. Have you folks considered maybe a public awareness campaign like this one we're doing right now in terms of getting the users of buses mindset driven to what you plan on having and doing, that pay-for system? You know, I'm still coming back to it because from next month or from the 1st of June or from the 1st of July, I mean, put up the notices on buses and so forth within your particular division or route per se, and say, well, hey, from the 1st of July, this system will be implemented, and strictly you pay first before you enter the bus. Have that particular campaign ever been given some thought?
Well, yes, we have given it some thought, but we never really saw it through. However, after this,
I think that's where the problem lies, eh?
I would say that as well. Yeah.
You know, giving it the thought and not implementing, that's where the problem lies.
Well, the thing about it is, from a majority standpoint, right? We did attempt many times to collect the correct fare. Yeah. But like I said, for some reason, operators tend to stray from that, and in doing so, automatically it becomes the norm from passengers saying, okay, this is what I normally pay.
Yeah.
And the average person now just don't have the time and energy to always have to explain to person what is the correct fare, even if we have price lists in our bus.
Yeah.
You know, you just decide to go with the flow.
So are you saying that majority of bus do have
we do have it
within the bus on a sticker or some laminated condition way of it being in the bus showing the price list?
Yes.
All right. We due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, I want us to get into our bit of conversation in terms of the pricing. All right. Let's talk about the pricing a wee bit and what it really should be costing individuals for flying the route that they are.
Okay.
When we do come back. When we do for a break. Let's take that break, and when we come back. Hey folks, it's To The Point here, Classic Radio GBN TV. Let's take a break, folks. We'll be right back. We'll touch you now.
Grenada, it's time to give praise while having fun and extraordinary family time. As PAWI, P-A-W-I, Grenada District presents Sports and Family Fun Day, Saturday, May 31st, 2025. Lassa Just Playing Field in St. David. It's going to be an exciting day filled with athletics, cricket, football, dominoes, cards, draft, and many more. There's always amazing deals. Flea market will be available together with a variety of eats and drinks on sale. Activity starts at 10 a.m., 10 in the morning, and goes until 6 p.m. Come out and be part of this wonderful day of fellowship as PAWI, Grenada District Sports and Family Fun Day. Saturday, 31st May. Don't miss out.
Grenada, the road to greatness continues. Catch the senior men's national team live at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium for 2 thrilling football clashes. Saturday, May 31st, it's a fiery international friendly as Grenada takes on Anguilla, just $20 admission. Then on Wednesday, June 4, it's our FIFA World Cup qualifier versus the Bahamas, $25 admission. Both matches kick off at 7 p.m. sharp. Come dressed, come loud, come proud. Style your national team, bring your posters, and show the world you are the 12th man. Let's pack the stadium, flood the stands, and roar together. Get your tickets now at the official GFA ticket outlets. Go to Fed.com or at the gate. Let's stand proud with Team Grenada. One island, one team, one goal.
Sporting fans, ready yourselves for the most anticipated Winston Tide games, June 7th and 8th at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Come support our athletes as they compete with some of the region's best in the field events and on the tracks. Save the date, June 7th and June 8th, Winston Tide games at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Stay tuned for more info. Winston Tide Game 2025.
Yes, Grenada, it's what we've been waiting on. The countdown to the Maggie King of the Grill. It's back at his legendary home, Montrouge Playing Field. Grand Dance on Saturday, June the 7th. The Flames return with Grill Masters battling for glory. All the action starts at 12 noon. Get ready. From 6 p.m. we go stateside for live entertainment by the Caress Band. It's food, fun, and fire for the whole family. Talking about kids' attraction, we got you covered. Bouncy castles, games, plenty of fun for the little ones while we indulge in the smoky goodness. Don't miss the vibe, the flavor, the fierce competition. King of the Grill 2025 is back and better than ever. Brought to you by Maggie, the secret of great flavor. Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Class Code, Grenada's #1 rum. Grenada Paper Products, classic Lighting Caribbean, budget foods with quality and affordability. Call home. Sandals Resort, Glen Spring Water, Blue Bubbles Pier Rentals and Event Supplies, Innovation Grenada Limited, Rubis, fueling all grills in competition. It's Maggie, King of the Grill 2025. Be there. Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. With us this morning, we have Mr. Of course, Curtis Chitan with us this morning. He's a PRO of the Eastern Bus Transport
Association. Yeah.
Eastern Bus Transport Association.
Eastern Main Road
Transport Association. Okay, right. I think I got it there now. All right. My next concern of the conversation this morning, as of course mentioned before I took the break, we were going to speak in relation to, of course, the pricing. All right, and that is one of the major concerns you have, and you hope that folks may understand the reason why you have to, follow the pricing. And there are various reasons why prices are introduced. You understand? We know the overall the cost of fuel, the cost of parts, and everything else. The overall maintenance of your bus. That's the reason you actually got into the business anyway.
Definitely.
If you didn't have to follow these concerns in terms of the fuel and the parts and everything, you could just drive your bus and don't collect. You understand? But so the issue with pricing. Let's go to the issue of pricing. What is the overall cost for an adult using your bus on the Eastern Main Road?
Well,
let's deal with adult first.
Let me first say that normally when you start speaking about price, people tend to believe that there was a price increase. So I want to assure the public that there was not a price increase.
There's no price increase.
There is not a price increase. There wasn't a price increase, right? And about the fare now for an adult, it varies. So it's same as a high school child as well. It varies based on where you take the bus and where you're going to drop off. Okay. So for example, let me just use Craneville to St. George's.
Yeah.
It is $6.50.
$6.50.
Yes. And some of the figures you're going to hear people saying that they are way off is $5, $6, hardly the $6.50.
Yeah.
You know, and my thing is, I understand that there are buses that is giving discounts. I understand that. But whenever you do get it, accept it and be happy about it.
Yeah.
But then you should be also aware that when there is an individual that is prepared to collect his price or the correct price, you should also be willing to comply.
Okay. So we say that's from Grenville to the bus terminus in St. George.
Yes.
If you're doing the Eastern route, you should be paying $6.50.
Yeah.
All right. And as you said, some drivers may offer you a discount. They may take
definitely.
5.
Yes.
Depending on who bus or if whatever reason or reasons why they decide they want to give you a discount, that is understandable. But folks should pay attention that the actual cost is $6.50.
And to put that in perspective with kindergarten or a primary school student, it is half that fare.
So a student, whether it's kindergarten, primary school, you said they should be paying half of the adult
that price.
So from Grenville to the bus terminus, $3.25
should be.
All right. And you're having an issue with that, folks still not wanting to pay that?
We do encounter situation on a day-to-day basis regarding that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's all because of what discount they would have gotten from the buses before. Yeah. You know, and in my opinion, a lot of the times walking, I would hear people saying that buses don't normally like to pick up school children.
Yeah.
For me, I don't want to believe that. And the reason why I don't want to believe that, because I am not one of the persons that they would be speaking about.
But I'm assuming you have heard stories of that.
Yes.
Numerous times.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, like I said, on a day-to-day basis, I'm hearing it still. And is it possible that one of the reasons contributing to that factor is because of that very same pricing?
Not wanting to pay that 50% of the adult fees for children.
Yes.
All right. Now, and you're talking and you said that should be from kindergarten all the way to primary school. $3.50. Once you're using the Eastern Main Road buses. Now, let's vary the option. Now, you say that's from Grenville to St. George's bus terminal. Now, is there a difference in cost if you take that bus midway?
Yes, it is, and it is stipulated on the price list. So persons that is not aware and think that they are being cheated or treated unfairly, there is always a price list that could be resorted to, so at least they could verify the information. So for a short drop, the bus fare for an adult is $2.50, and half of that would be $1.25 for a primary school child.
So I take from Grenville and I drop off. Forgive me, I don't know the eastern side that well. So in terms of areas. Let's say from Grenville and you drop off in the Mackey area.
That's a $2.50.
That's $2.50.
Yeah.
All right. And that goes across the board for both adults. I mean, in terms of that costing, and children, or children will pay half of that.
Well, like I said, anyway, adult drop. Let's say the adult phase. Let's say $2.50, right? In that case, a short drop. A child that goes to kindergarten or primary school, that is, it's half that.
Half of that.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever the adult price is for a kindergarten, primary school child, it is half that. The high school children, it's totally different. It varies based on where they pick up the bus, and it's stipulated again on the pricing, you know, and it clearly stated in uniform. So for a high school child, it is in uniform.
That's where the half price comes in.
No, not the half price doesn't apply to them high school children at that point, because like I said, based on where you pick them up.
Okay.
And as you can see on this,
I'm kind of getting lost here.
If you look here,
no, you're saying all secondary school students in uniform. All right, from Grenville to Sobeys to St. David's, I see you have $2.50. You say from Grenville to Sobeys to Wester Hall, $3.
Right. There you
Grenville Sobeys to St. George's, $4. That's for all students in uniform.
In uniform, and that's high school children in uniform.
Yeah. Not kindergartens and primary school.
No.
So we're talking, as we will say locally, those in secondary school.
Secondary school.
All right.
And when they are out of uniform, that changes. They are now supposed to be paying the adult fare.
So that goes across for students maybe who tend to CC who does not dress in uniform. That's even not for they are not in a form of a tertiary part of education part they know, right?
The tertiary level students
is considered adults to a point?
Yeah. It is stated here as well. All tertiary students.
They pay adult fee.
Adult fee, yeah.
All right. Understandably so. Now, my next question to you: how are you planning to fix this, especially with the drivers who offer, as you mentioned, the discount? How is the Eastern Main Road Bus Transport Association plan on fixing this problem? Because it's affecting not only you as a bus owner yourself, but I'm sure other owners of buses who are saying, well, this bus, X bus has charged me $5. How do you plan on fixing this problem?
Well, I think in corporate, it's also affecting passengers, Yes, the majority is actually benefiting from the discount. But let's take into consideration the percentage that are not treated fairly because they don't know the price. Because I am pretty sure at times they would have been overcharged. And that is because you didn't know the price. But if you do know the price, it is very easy for you to say to a driver or conductor, I think you made a mistake. You understand what I'm saying?
Can you say all buses should have this in the who are part of the association, more or less?
Suppose
sure there are buses who may not be part of
there was given
a copy of this, which they should have, placed in the bus, and visible enough that the passengers can see, hey, this is what I should be paying, depending from where I take the bus from. All right.
Yes.
All right. Tell me, you were saying that I was asking, I would say more or less, how could this be fixed in terms of passengers who are unaware? Is it the responsibility of the passengers to make themselves aware of the costing?
Well, it is our responsibility to continuously inform persons because we will always get people saying they was not aware. And people going about their daily lives, doing their business, they really don't think about a lot of things regarding that. So it is our responsibility. What I am concerned about is the fact that there are many of us that is willing to share this information, but the barriers towards it.
What are those barriers per se?
Okay, they respond. You would get things like, I don't want to hear that. That is not the price. I've been living here, how much? 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And despite all of that, the reality is it is incorrect. And to be made aware, it is someone that have to give you that information.
Yeah.
So I would like to see people a little bit more willing to comply whenever they come across an individual that is willing to share those information.
Okay. And of course, give them a listening and also listen to the information that has been thrown out.
Right. Because you said, how can we fix it? It is kind of unfair for me to say to a particular individual that running a business not to give somebody a discount.
I understand.
It is unfair for me to do so.
A bus driver may say, well, he may be a popular driver on the road because of what he's charging. I'm just using it as an example.
Okay.
I will drive on GT's bus because GT only charges me $3. So I will continue to use that. But it's not the appropriate cost that I should be paying. But know that I'm driving Curtis and Curtis is charging me $6.50. I may say, well, I don't want to drive on Curtis anymore because GT is charging me $3.50.
Great example. I like the fact that you brought that up. So let us put that into perspective here now. That popular guy, you would love to ride with him because you're getting a discount.
Yeah.
But let's take into consideration he started work 4 o'clock in the morning and he finishes at 5. Now what happens from 5 to, let's say, 8 o'clock? There is another operator in effect here.
Who's going across with his standard price.
All right. So you see the confusion there. Because your popular guy is not here now.
Yeah.
And then we have to take into consideration the person that is taking the time and effort to get you home safe and sound. And is simply asking for what he's supposed to rightfully get.
All right. I understand. So technically, you're saying that the bus association would like drivers who are doing that should cease that. Well, I mean, because if it's becoming a problem for Tom, who's now going to be driving from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., where he has to now charge the standard price, and because the passengers, John, who started at 4 a.m. and finished it at 5, was charging them at a discount, as you've been referencing it to be.
So I cannot agree to saying tell the operators to cease that practice. At the same time, I'm not telling them to do it. What I'm saying is, if you think that is one of the ways your business is effective and profitable to you, and at the same time, based on your clients, you wish to give them that discount, I understand.
But it's affecting the other buses.
I also understand that. But what is important here is that the people understands what is expected.
Okay, so I understand where you're coming from. I understand from the screen you're giving. You should understand, if you are accustomed using John's bus and John is not available, you have to pay the price that of Peter's bus, of Peter's price now.
In that case, I believe everybody can be happy in the manner of, okay, yes, John is not here, so you can't pay $5. However, you're getting Mr. Mark, which we're going to take you home safe and sound.
But he'll be working with the standard price.
With the standard price.
We drew for a break. Let's take it, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation, folks. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. I'll be coming right back. Don't touch it out.
Climate change.
Project Music presents Rhythms of Spice. Sunday, June 1st, 3 p.m., Comahan Park. Featuring student performances Alpha One, Cool Jazz Band, Co-op Band Comancheros, Lion Pride Percussions. Project Music with Tira Etienne, Shireen Brizan, Jeremy Hector, Javon Andrew, and Sonika McKee. With special guests, Hickson from St. Lucia. Get your tickets $60 on sale at Grenadian Optical, Art and Soul, Gittins Pharmacy, Grenville, and Goto Fed. More at the door. Children 12 and under free. Rhythms of Spice, Sunday, June 1st, 3 p.m., Comahan Park. Sponsors Co-op Bank, Renwick & Thompson, Hubbard's, Baron Foods, Inter-Caribbean, True Blueberry Resort, Acado Grenada, Gabriel's Rentals, Andrews Construction, Supreme Sounds, DJ Danny, GBN, Boss FM, and Real FM. Absolutely no vending.
The Mass officially starts now as Spice Mass Cooperation together with Aura Caribbean is turning up the thing all the way up with Carnival City Fusion Thursdays. It all kicks off on Thursday, May 29th and continues every Thursday into June. We're bringing the vibes to the Port Louis lawn. Gates open 7 p.m. Action starts 8 p.m. Get ready for live performances from your favorite soca, groovy, and calypso artists, plus the sweet sounds of steel band, live bands, and all the mass elements you love. Veko, Jab Jab, Shortney, Mokojumbi, Apache, and more. It's more than a line. It's a whole carnival experience. So grab your crew, bring the energy, and come let's celebrate where culture meets pure excitement. Carnival City Fusion Thursdays, Port Louis Lawn, beginning May 29th and continues every Thursday into June. Come, let's play a mass, cause the thing starts.
Yes, Grenada, it's what we've been waiting on. The countdown to the Maggie King of the Grill. It's back at his legendary home, Montrouge Playing Field. Grand Dance on Saturday, June the 7th. The Flames return with Grill Masters battling for glory. All the action starts at 12 noon. Get ready. From 6 p.m. we go stateside for live entertainment by the Caress Band. It's food, fun, and fire for the whole family. Talking about kids' attraction, we got you covered. Bouncy castles, games, plenty of fun for the little ones while we indulge in the smoky goodness. Don't miss the vibe, the flavor, the fierce competition. competition. King of the Grill 2025 is back and better than ever. Brought to you by Maggie, the secret of great flavor. Grenada Distillers Limited, makers of Class Code, Grenada's #1 rum. Grenada Paper Products, classic like the Caribbean. Budget foods with quality and affordability. Call home. Sandals Resort, Glenel's Spring Water, Blue Bubbles Pier Rentals and Event Supplies, Innovation Grenada Limited, Rubis, fueling all grills in competition. It's Maggie, King of the Grill 2025. Be there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Of course, talking with Mr. Chitan this morning. He's a PRO of the, of course, let me get the name right, the Eastern Main Road Bus Transport Association. And, of course, we talk a whole lot this morning. We talk about the pay-for system that we hoping that, users of the various buses will apply, paying that bus as you for wherever you pick up the bus, whether it's at the terminus or the whatever the outer bus stops that are there, you want to pay that bus first, and you're hoping that folks will comply with that. You understand? Just pay the bus first. We also talk about the pricing. You understand? As Mr. Chitan mentioned, there's not much control you may have in it depending on the owners of buses. Some bus may want to, as you put it nicely, some bus may want to offer you a discount. You understand? Some bus may want to offer you a discount, but it's not the actual price. So you should be always willing to, when you get a bus offer you the correct price, that is what you're supposed to be paying. All right. In this segment, we invite our listeners and viewers over there who hear the concerns that, of course, Mr. Chitan and myself have been discussing this morning. And of course, if you probably have an idea that you may like to offer or a suggestion. And I'm sure you're open for that, sir.
Yes, someone
may offer a suggestion in terms of ways that this problem that you have could be resolved.
Definitely,
you understand?
I am more than happy to.
And you may say, Mr. Chitan, if you all do this or do that, your problem probably could be resolved, in the easiest way possible. Let's take our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, GT, and good morning, Mr. Chitan, is it?
Yes, it is.
So we're having the discussions. I like where it's heading. But I'm just wondering if perhaps, the association could look at the bus operations. I understand the discounts also they're giving, but I want to suggest they operate it more as a standardized business, have more cooperation amongst the members, and look at like standard fees and not like discounted fees, because it's like too much of a hustle and not of a business model. And maybe start looking at he mentioned sometimes children don't pay the fees, and so children, they may spend it on a snack or so. Maybe have monthly packages that parents could buy, and it doesn't matter which bus they're on, that operator is sure he's going to be paid once you buy like a monthly pass or so for students, or even not just students but people in general who utilize the public transport system.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. I mean, great ideas and suggestions there. As you said, I think we have gotten to the stage in the world today where technology reigns. You understand? Where instead of the owners of buses have to worry about collecting that cash all the time, have a system where there's a swiping system within the bus where you can travel cash, so you're not paying anything less than you're supposed to pay. Have those thoughts been given consideration? And it goes across the board also with all of the bus associations coming together, not just the Eastern. You speaking out here as the Eastern bus, you understand, but it's something that all the associations should of course come together and put out the idea of just the hustle that the folks are doing. You get where I'm coming from?
Well, eventually, our ultimate goal is to provide a service that would be conducive and I would say reliable to the Grenadian people, of course. And anything that would make that a reality, we are more than willing to welcome it. All right. So, for example, the suggestion the lady just mentioned there, it's a fantastic idea, and I must say we do have buses already. Using the initiative by doing that.
Yeah.
Of course, it may not be on a massive scale, so like probably 4 or 5 persons, like student, primary school student, and they would collect their monies monthly. All right. But then you also have a bigger volume of students that rely on just, buses that ply the route.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's take another caller. Caller live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, so I think the problem, I understand what the gentleman is saying. No, I think the problem is consistency, lack of consistency. If you have a rule, all of the members must agree in order to prevent bias, prejudice, confusion. You agree to stick to the schedule, and you agree to stick to the circumstances under which we give exceptions. It's for students, it's for elderly, it's for nurses after 7. Have a system and you stick to it. You don't give it to the nene. You don't give it to the girl you like. You don't give it to your neighbor. Because when you create that is when you have a problem. Now, I heard your speaker say you need to know when you see John driving the bus is not discount. When you see this one driving the bus is not discount. That is too much confusion. And I disagree with you, sir. What you need to be advocating is that your bus drivers stick to the rule, the system, the pricing, when you give exceptions, and be consistent. And then you're leaving too much on the customers to figure it out. That is unfair. That is your system right there. That is when you need to correct. Second of all, it is unrealistic to have a first pay system. A lot of the times, people are rushing onto the bus. 5, 6, 10. You just trying to pack your bus and get on. Sometimes, according to where you stop on the road, you don't have time to stop and collect. People behind you, children trying to get in. It is unrealistic to have a pay first system. You have to try to do it differently, okay? And second of all, this is the problem. When you do things that are inconsistent, how and a customer wants to get off the bus. Sometimes you don't finish your route. You get to Marquee, nobody left. One person going to Marquee, you say, get off here, I only have one person. That is illegal. So when you decide not to finish your route, that person already paid, and she has to get off and get another bus. No, we need to be able to get off the bus when you don't do your part. Your part could be that your music too loud. Your part could be that you're overpacking the bus. You keep packing, people on top, people, foot on top, foot. Even the bus conductor squeezing himself in. When somebody is in a bus and it's overpacked and you're uncomfortable, and the next person elbow going into your breast, right? And you're feeling the next person armpit on you, and you are uncomfortable because the bus is overpacked. You are not sticking to the amount of people you have. We should be able to say, excuse me, I want to get off the bus. And if you don't have that, you will abuse it. If you know that if you are not doing the right thing, the customer has the right to get off the bus. It will keep you in shape because you know if your music too loud, if your music is inappropriate, if you overpack the bus, if you don't finish your route, we want to be able to get off that bus without you holding our money hostage. Okay? So it goes both ways. You have to protect the consumer. Don't just come here thinking about you want money first. Think about the realistic. What message are you giving? Are you providing us the option to leave when you don't do your part as a bus conductor? Okay? So there is a lot more to this. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. And I guess you understand where the caller is coming from and some of the suggestions that she made.
Definitely.
And of course, I know you have experienced a lot of what the caller mentioned. And you know those situations do exist.
So I just want to add, I really appreciate your concern and what you shared, but I want to say to you that the pay-for system was something the government at the point in time signed off to. So the fact that somebody is saying that is unrealistic, I mean, that is something I believe they would have noticed before implementing it. All right. Having said that, I did mention it is a challenge at times due to circumstances. All right. So I would agree. Now, we also have to take into consideration as commuters, if you're on a bus and something is not to your liking, it is your right to say to the driver or the conductor what is on your mind in a nice, respectable manner. And in that way, you give the operators an opportunity to make changes that is welcoming to you or other commuters. All right? Now, even if somebody reaches the Marquee and there is one person in the bus, I don't think it is right for operator to just drop somebody by the side of the road. But it is not wrong for an operator to ask if it's okay that I transfer you to another bus since it's you alone, and then you come to a mutual agreement. All right? If the passenger say, well, you know what? Unfortunately, I would prefer you take me to Grenville, then the operators have all right to see you through. And in the event that doesn't happen, then you, the passenger, have a right to report that operator. So the fact that persons are saying buses are dropping them all over the place, to me, it is not right. It should not be happening. And I don't practice that. So I believe, in all fairness, it is in the best interest of the passenger to report any injustice that was brought to them.
All right, great. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Mr. GT, and for the gentleman, the guest. I think it's quite interesting conversation. When I listen to the whole thing, I think that as far as the fears are concerned, that's quote-unquote low-hanging fruit. I think that could be easily solved by displaying the prices for the different destinations. My experience when the tire hits the road, so to speak, is that that's not done adequately. Many times I take the public bus, and if I'm going somewhere that I think is much further than the 250, even though I may have $6 or $7 in my pocket, I will give $10 because I don't know how much, and then I'll get change. So then I end up with a whole bunch of coins in my pocket. One of the misconceptions that we may have, and I don't want to get too much into semantics, but I think the consequences of how we classify the bus system in Grenada. We call it the public system. Even if it's a public bus per se, it's owned by multiple private entities. It's different from the model that you have in Brooklyn, New York City, for example, where you have the MTA, the public bus system that's controlled by one entity. So when you have rules and regulations, they can be consistent throughout the spectrum. We have multiple entities, so even though the buses are publicly available, they are owned by private entities. The other thing is that the hustling nature of the way the bus system is conducted. You try to get into a bus, and before you could settle into the bus or play your head from the top, the conductor is ready to close the door because he sees another bus in the background behind him, and he's trying to get ahead quickly to capture the customers and so on waiting further on, and that creates a problem. And then when you get into the bus now, you try to get your money out. It's very difficult, and that's not an exaggeration, to get your money out from your pocket because your elbow is jammed against someone else. It's hard to even get your hand in your pocket. So I think there are a lot of things that need to be addressed, and I understand the person who called before me, the passion, and I do hope that the guest has broad shoulders, and maybe the way someone else explained themselves or show their passion may have been different, but that caller did have a very important point. And I think those issues need to be addressed, because when the tire hits the road, it's a major problem that goes beyond the fare.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate your contribution this morning. And of course, great information from the caller. I mean, he did touch it on the head in terms of what you explained. As he suddenly mentioned, our system here is more of a private system more than a public bus system. You understand? Privately owners own the buses. And it's not like if it's a government owned, so there are rules and regulations that you have to follow. So more or less, as you would say, most bus owners or users or owners of bus follow their own rules to a point in terms of how they carry on their business.
So it comes back to what I was saying, especially what you can expect from John. Because John now, because he knows he's privately owned and providing the public service, he can then tweak it accordingly. Yeah. And I understand the caller by saying at times it can be very confusing for commuters. Yeah. In fact, it is. But being made aware of what is expected is also important, so that whenever it come into play, they can just,
Sure. We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Now, in order for this to work, you can't have bus operators that are greedy. You have to operate your bus with a conductor. Okay? A lot of the times now, we had to figure out, children had to figure out how to open the door for themselves. Because there's no conductor. You have the driver, he wants to drive, he wants to conduct, he wants to collect, but you cannot do this and be able to do the pay for system, right? Because you want to drive and people touching each other's shoulder from the back, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to say, get that to the driver. That is distracting to the customers that want to sit down and enjoy the ride. I don't want to be passing up money from the back all the way up to the driver. Now, when the driver gets it now, he's so greedy. Right? He trying to drive, he trying to get money, he trying to reach the post, he trying to get change, and what will happen? An accident. Okay? So you, Mr. Chitan, you have to look. Don't come here and advocate for all you. Look at the flaws in it. It is unrealistic to collect the bus money when you don't even have a conductor. We're trying to figure out how to open the bus, how to close the bus. When we get all the driver saying, don't slam it there, don't slam it there, you're closing too hard, you're closing too hard. If you had a bus conductor opening the door, closing the door, collecting the money, none of that would have happened. Stop trying to operate, drive, conduct, change, do everything in one. Be realistic.
Thank you, caller.
Be realistic, sir. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. And it goes across the board to what we've been saying, and that's where maybe the pay-for system could come into play, right? Actually, maybe that could come into play if it's possible at the time. Then all these other issues where trying to pass it to someone and touching someone in the bus come to play. We do have another caller, and just hold the thought for that. It may be our final caller because we're about to wrap. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're live.
Good morning, GT, and morning to your guests. I joined the program late. You see, transport is something that's a big concern for me as a local person. I think, first of all, we need to define what public transportation is. And although it's being carried out by private entity, it is a public good. And it's not a consumer item, as some people alluded to. And we are treated like consumers, and which a consumer is not someone that is considered human. A consumer, according to the original root of the word consumer, is mean a monster. So we are treated like monsters. And we have to learn how to define what we do and how we do it. So if we don't do that, so we need a bigger conversation in terms of how we go about, because we need to look at everyone's interests, the owners, the drivers. But again, you have to understand, because this is from within a capitalist arrangement where the bus drivers have to pay, the owners have to pay the bank and so on. Their main concern is not about the lives of the people that they transport. It's mainly the paying for the bills and meeting their own commitment. So we need to redefine, and we have to also understand the people who are most affected are the people at the lower level of the society, the lower so-called class and so on.
Thank you,
so, because people in the upper class don't have a problem with that kind of transportation. So we have to find a way how we could find applicable thing for everybody. All this I will see for now.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I guess you understand where the caller is coming from. We have one more caller that I had on hold. Let's just get them across. And then, of course, I hope you've been taking notes from the caller. They'll be my final caller. Caller, my final caller for the morning. Good morning to you. Let's hear from you, please. And I beg of you to be brief.
Yes, Jay. Good morning, Jane. Good morning to your guests. And the caller before, the last, I think she hit the nail on the head. Although I support the pay-for system, but the system we have right now is so difficult. And it's so crazy. It just cannot happen. So I hope that the guy on the program understands that, because I support the paying first. I think it'll help the buses to pick up and drop up faster. But the only problem is that it's so chaotic. It just cannot happen, brother.
All right, go on. Thank you. Appreciate your call. That was my final caller. We heard a lot from our listeners and viewers this morning. I hope you want to respond to some of the callers, some of the points that were made. Respond, and then we get some closing remarks from you.
All right, definitely. So to the lady that mentioned about the greedy guys that walking without a conductor, I would love to shed some light on that. So legally, we have a choice to work with or without a conductor, and persons make decisions accordingly based on situation at hand, all right, or based on the experience they would have had, all right. Having said that, what I can say to you is that I am one of the persons that work my bus without a conductor, and I can assure you, I take pride and joy and deal with my passengers. A matter of fact, some of the services I provide, especially to them children, there is a lot of parents that is very much pleased and happy knowing that they are in safe hands. So working without a conductor, in my opinion, is not taking away from the experience you can have on a bus. Quite frankly, you can have a memorable one without a conductor just the same way. I had lots of cases where people come on my bus and they are very happy. So saying that, persons are greedy by walking by themselves, I don't think that is justified, but I understand that is your concern. So that is that for this one. And also, you
don't have a problem with the slamming the door, right?
No, because you see, at the end of the day, you have to understand. I'm happy that you mentioned that. At the end of the day, as a driver, if you walk in your bus for yourself, I mean, everybody is not aware how to deal with a door. They're not a conductor, and chances are they never did it before. Yeah. So in the event that happened, I mean, I don't think it's a case where you have to be harsh with anybody, The gentleman that described bus operators as treating commuters as monsters, I understand persons must have had some bad experience on buses, and I want to apologize on behalf of operators that would have treated passengers in such a way. But I want to assure you that there is a huge volume of operators that is very nice and go the extra mile to take care of people. You understand? For also they mentioned with ladies with children, I come out from my bus at times to assist because I will take these things into consideration. A pregnant lady come on my bus, I would, do certain things. An ageable person, and they are focused in my business.
I mean, I understand it may not go across the board with everyone.
With everyone.
Every bus owner or driver or conductor may not do it. But I mean, folks are maybe happy that you are, and you wish it could go across the board. That everybody will offer that particular.
Of course, definitely. It is my wish that persons as operators be a little bit more mindful of these things and when they're providing the service. And let me tell you, a lot of the times the experience you have with me may not be with somebody else. Yeah. So you might be saying something negative about me, and it doesn't mean you didn't experience something negative, but then you'll be surprised how somebody else is speaking on my behalf because of the encounter they would have had. So
the interaction with everyone is always varies. And it goes to people's individual feeling at a particular time. You understand?
I think a lack of communication is one of the major issue we are having, because I find as a commuter, you should have all right to say to an operator, listen, is it possible you turn down your radio, please? And in all fairness, yes, the operator should respond to that.
Comply, yes.
Because you don't know whether the person having a headache. You're not aware if they just can't hear themselves because they probably, So I think these are things we need to look at as well. Okay. And the idea of saying people are treated like monsters, that is a bit harsh.
All right, Mr. Chitan, I want to thank you for coming on today's program and of course expressing your concerns. I hope some of the issues that you spoke about get resolved, especially in terms of the people system. Even though we had a caller that said it's not doable, it probably is. Just that if it's really put into effect, it probably could work. It probably could work. Hope folks understand the cost of using the bus. You understand? And not because somebody give you a discount doesn't mean that's the actual price. That's something you really wanted to get off this morning, because folks, it's probably hurting other drivers who have to accept because Tom is accepting $5 and it really price should be $6.50 as you mentioned. So hope those issues get resolved. And I hope that you get a positive feedback from this conversation this morning. Of course, maybe the users of the bus, other bus owners and so forth may feel they want to join in. Maybe the other bus associations may want to come together. Maybe we could make the arrangements to have more than one association, pre-ROs comes in and have a conversation in relation to this.
Well, based on the recommendation, I'm definitely going to take it, to the relevant persons within the association. I really, really admire the fact that somebody mentioned that we could try our best to stay standard, and it would lessen the confusion. In achieving it, it's going to be, I would say, a challenge, but we're going to try. Hopefully we get that sorted out. But I would really like to say thanks to every individual that participate in this conversation, and I greatly appreciate your concern and your recommendation that you shared.
All right. Thank you once again, sir. Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank all who contributed to today's program. Have yourself a good one and a great weekend to come. That's why I say goodbye.